Okay, my friends, let's just wade right in here. This evening's movie is brought to you in question and answer form, and Peter Melanson, he sent a gift and simply asked to see some of the bows that I've made. And I have 4 of them here. As a matter of fact, that's all I've made, except for when I was a kid. But irregardless, let me show you a few things. One type of bow that you can make would be from something that's laminated, and we simply have to take epoxy. This is a very popular EA40, very popular epoxy. You mix it basically 50-50, put it in between the slats. Don't clamp it too tight so that the glue is squeezed out. But you can make a bow with that. And the type of bow that you might end up with would be something more along the modern bow. It's laminated, and all you have to do is just put on the fiberglass, glue it on, and you'll end up with a bow like that. Now, another kind of bow stave that you would get, for instance, this bow you've seen recently, and I didn't make this bow, okay? It's Osage orange. But you can get staves of Osage orange, and you can see, you can sort of see how rough and crude it is, and you really have to follow those growth rings, so you just chip away the top one until you get one that goes all the way down, and then you just start to sculpture the bow. But that's much harder to do, especially harder to do than a maple stave. But one of the things that will help you is you can get staves that would take 200 pounds. They just won't bend. But if you have a stave like this, it helps you quite a bit, especially when you're using Osage orange. Okay, so you can get them, I guess they call it floor-tillered. Okay, now the same thing goes for the maple. The maple, or not the maple, but the hickory. I'll get to the maple in a minute. But it's a white wood, and it's much easier to work, and it makes a very, very good bow. I suppose the Osage orange has it beat by a notch. It's a little more springy, but really if you're shooting a hickory bow, you're not going to notice that. They're great. So you can get also staves, or you can also get them as a floor-tillered stave. Again, you can't bend them at all, but it saves you a lot of time to do it that way. Another way is you can get, here we have an English longbow, and you can see it's a laminated bow. It's got bamboo in the middle, and it's hickory on each side. And a bow like this is also much easier to make. Now, here's a bow that I made, okay? And it was done from a stave like this, and I had a belt sander, and I simply put it on the belt sander and went and very quickly sanded it down, and it turned into a great bow. It's 43 pounds. This bow is the one that I call Bandit. And again, I will not tell you why. So, I have enemies in the police department. What do you want from me? I'm a Viking. Anyhow, here's a type of bow that I made. Now, this is kind of interesting, Peter, because here we've got a hickory bow, and it's very short. It's, 48 inches or so. But on this bow, we put sinew. So you just hammer up that sinew until it gets kind of whitish looking, and peel the sinews apart so that you got the different strands. And on this one I actually used the animal glue. Animal glue. You just put it in warm water, mix it up to whatever consistency you want, lay it on there. You put your sinew on like bricks, you know, you lay one this way and then you overlap one and then you overlap that. After a while, they're all blending together and it makes a very, very good, powerful bow. Now, this bow, I really short draw it. I only draw it to about here because it's about 45 pounds at about, I don't know, 20 inches or so. So it's a pretty heavy bow. And just shoot it naturally, you know, just line it up and let her go. So that's one of my bows. Now, here's an interesting bow. And this bow is made out of maple. And I just went up to the archery club and went out in the forest, grabbed a sapling that was big as my hand, cut it down, brought it home, and right away that day, I peeled the bark off, because if you have a fresh tree and you peel that bark off when it's brand new, it's so easy, and it looks nice and shiny. Whereas with this bow here, which is hickory, but you can sort of see all the pith on it and everything, because it was dry and very hard to get off, and rather than damage the back of the bow, I just scraped it down that far, and I like the look. But anyhow, maple is a very good wood, and it's local, and she's a good, you know, she's 45 pounds. I really don't know the weight on this bow. I just made it until I could pull it. Another thing about this bow is you'll see that I also just did it on the belt sander. I just put that tree on there and just went like that, and it worked quite good. So it's a simple, fast way of making yourself a bow. Now, also, there's this bow, the hickory bow, and this is probably really my bow, you know. I just, again, pull it down until it became as strong as me. It's about 53 pounds, and I really like this bow. Again, hickory is a reasonable price. It's not hard to get. It's very, very tough, you know. North American Indians used it for bows. So I'd say that it's an excellent, excellent wood for our general use. A couple of things that you can do. Now, you don't need tools like this, a farrier's rasp. It gets a lot of press, and they're very good. They're also quite expensive, and you could just use an axe or a draw knife. You could use a pocket knife. You know, a pocket knife will make a great bow. It really will. You just had a piece of wood, but you know, you can just start scraping, and it will reduce that wood. So a pocket knife is a great thing. I think that the very best tool of all, though, in making a bow is a caliper. You see, if you want to have good symmetry in your bow, then it should be the same thickness at the same distance from the center. So that's very hard to judge. But if you have a caliper, let's see where this one fits. So if you have a caliper and I go out, let's say 2 inches, when I find, see, it won't fit there, just won't. But right there, it fits. Now, if I want to have a spot equal to that on the other side, I go down the same distance and I just keep tapering it down until it fits. And I know that that's exactly the same as that size up there. So a caliper, I think, is the very best thing that you can get. The very best thing. It will help you tiller a great deal. I don't know. I can't really think of much more. I've shown you some stuff, so I'll think it over. And, oh, right. This is just for furniture, finishing furniture. But again, if you have wood, you can take off the finest little shavings with this, the finest little shavings, and you can control the reduction of this wood excellent with this tool. So if you have one of these, and one of these, and one of these, and some sort of axe or file or something for reducing, you're going to make a bow. As long as you've got patience, you know. Anyhow, I'll think this over. We'll be back in a minute. Okay, Peter, so let's take a couple of shots with these primitive bows. So this one's made out of maple. And it's about 45, 48 pounds, I would estimate. I haven't really checked it. But anyhow, this is our maple bow that I'm bracing just about my brace height. And we don't have any mark on the shelf, just hold it and make sure that the arrow is on a slight upward angle, you know, not like that, but slightly up, and it will shoot fine. Anyhow, that's one bow that we made. That's an old Canadian bow, I guess, because it is maple. And you can see that it can shoot just fine. No shelf, nothing like that. Lots of bumps and knots. Anyhow, back in a minute, Peter. Okay, Peter, let's take a couple shots with our hickory bow. Okay, so this is our hickory bow. This is what you would call an American flat bow. It's about 72 inches, but when I put the string on, really, she's 66 inches. And it's about 53 pounds. Very good bow. Hickory is a very good bow wood, so I like this bow quite a bit, you know. This could be my bow. But anyhow, it shoots just fine. And this bow, you know, we'll pop them right in there. So that's all she's got to do. But you don't need bow more than 55 pounds, so 53 is plenty. Okay, back in a minute. Okay, Peter, now we're going to use our sinew-backed bow. 47 inches long. You use no anchor with a bow like this. This kind of a bow, you just sort of lean over and look along the side of the bow, along the arrow, rather than anything proper like an anchor. And otherwise, I find that it's a very good bow. It's very stiff. I do not go to a full draw. I simply eyeball it, line it up that way, and it works just fine. You can see that also, and all these bows are using exactly the same arrow. They work fine. Okay, back in a minute, Peter. Okay, Peter. Last but not least, we've got Bandit. Bandit is a regular longbow, 72 inches. She's 42, 43 pounds. Bandit. Bandit is also made out of IP, I-P-E, IP, and with the MOSO bamboo. Not much more to say about it, really. It's a very good bow. Has a little bit of magic there, you notice. But those are the bows that I've made, and those are some of the materials that you will have to make your own bow. And I hope you have a real blast, Peter. And thanks for the donation. And if any of you other guys want to see something special, I can take care of it. Or if I get a little present, I'll make a new movie on subjects that you'll be interested in. Anyhow, you guys have a good night. Again, thanks, Peter. I hope that it helped you out. And the good old English longbow can shoot just fine. Okay, Peter. Take care. Good night.